Hi, I'm Lansing City Clerk Chris Swope, and this is Robin Stites, our election supervisor here for the City of Lansing. We're going to do a brief demonstration of our voting equipment. So Robin, why don't you go ahead and open up the machine. So this is one of our precinct tabulators. It is a Dominion tabulator that we use here that was selected after a process. The state of Michigan in 2017 selected 3 vendors that each county clerk could choose from. The Ingham County clerk, as well as over 50 other clerks in Michigan, chose Dominion. So that is what we are using in the city of Lansing. The other equipment that counties could select were Hart InterCivic, as well as ES&S. So again, over 50 counties, I'm not sure of the exact number, have the Dominion, and that's what we have. So Robin has opened the machine, so she used the security key and a code to tell the machine so that no one can interfere with it. Also, and it does take it a couple minutes to load up. Also, the programming is contained and the election results are on 2 memory cards here that are sealed. And we do provide that seal number so that our election workers can verify that it had not been tampered with. So it's just asking if it's the correct time. So again, we got this equipment in 2017. So the presidential election in 2020 was the 10th election that we have used this same equipment for. And this programming that we used for this election was done by the Ingham County Clerk's office, by actually a resident of Ingham County, not an employee of any vendor. And we got extra copies made. She's going to go ahead and open the poll. We got extra cards burned so that we could do hands-on training with our election workers. It's very difficult to do training if they can't actually use and touch the machine. So while this is an extra copy, this is the exact same programming that was used on election day. So once it starts up in the morning, this is what the election workers would do, is what Robin just did. You can see it shows 0 votes for every candidate. And this is called the 0 report. Our election workers on election morning, they sign this and verify that every candidate has 0 votes. And as you can see, the presidential race right here, every candidate has 0 votes, as does every other candidate on this printout. And on election morning, after this prints off, the election workers all sign this tape to prove that they have verified that all the candidates have 0. There's also a public counter on the machine that says ballots cast, so this has 0. So now it is ready to be voted. Now, one of the myths or things that was talked about in this election is whether Sharpies are a good tool to use, because they do sometimes bleed through. So I am going to actually go ahead and mark a ballot. I'm going to mark 1 vote for Donald Trump and Mike Pence. And I'm going to color that circle in. And as you can see, it did bleed through onto the back. But the place that it bled through to does not have an oval around it. These are programmed. The machine knows where all the ovals are, and any mark that is not in an oval doesn't do anything. It's just completely ignored by the machine. Anything even down here on the front side, it completely ignores anything that is not in a spot, such as the bleed through on the black. Anything that is 25% filled, the machine reads as a vote. Anything that's somewhere between 5 and 25%, it's going to call it an ambiguous mark, and it's going to kick the ballot back out to the voter for them to fix their marking. Anything under 5%, it's going to ignore, because it thinks it was just like a stray dot. So another thing, we've had several voters who wanted us to go back and look at their ballot and tell them how it was voted. But one of the security measures that we have in Michigan is that this ballot stub is actually removed before the ballot goes into the tabulator. That's to provide voter secrecy so that no one can know how any individual voter voted. So it is not possible for us to do that. In fact, Proposal 3 of 2018, one of the provisions put in our state constitution that we have ballot secrecy. So that is to protect the voter. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in. It's processing the ballot. Didn't come back with any errors, and casting the ballot, and the ballot's cast on the public reader now says 1. So I'm going to go ahead and ask Robin to go ahead and close the tabulator. All right, and you do have to enter the code a couple of times because you have to use the code to access the menu, and then you have to use the code a second time to actually close the polls. So lots of security things in this. All right, so the only valid vote that I had cast on the one ballot was for Donald Trump and Mike Pence. So here's the tape that would print out at the end of election night. And as you can see, it shows in the presidential office just the one vote. It listed under the candidate, and then it gives the total number of votes cast for that office down below. Everything else on this whole tape is 0. This will print off 3 copies. On election night, what would happen is our election workers, all of our workers who are present when the polls are closed, would sign this tape. And this piece of paper is a physical verification that this is what came out of the tabulator on election night. And by the way, this tabulator is not connected to the internet. It does not have Bluetooth or Wi-Fi on it. It is completely disconnected from everything except electricity and the programming that's in it. So again, at the end of the night, they would sign these 3 copies, and then once the machine is done and they turn it off, they would actually remove for the first time this seal, and they would remove the memory cards and bring those back to my office. Now we upload these, so that does go through the internet, but before the results are official, the Board of County Canvassers will compare this paper copy to the electronically uploaded results. So that's why results are always unofficial on election night, because we need that double verification of the paper copy versus the electronically uploaded copy. So can I have the keys, Robin? So another thing that the election workers do on election night is they remove all of the ballots from the machine. This is the one ballot that's in there. They seal this up so that we can protect the security, the custody chain of these ballots, so that recount would be possible, so that we can verify that no one has tampered with these ballots in between election night and when there was a recount, or in the case of Michigan this year, we're going to be having an audit, so we will know that these ballots have not been tampered with or anything done to them in between election day and the audit. I do want to say that the election workers, we had over 700 people working in the city of Lansing. They're your neighbors. They're from your community. We have both Republicans and Democrats and a few other political parties such as Green and U.S. taxpayers working with us, but they're your neighbors that help put on this election. So I hope this video was helpful and maybe helped allay some of your fears. I believe this was a safe, secure, and accurate election. I want to thank everyone who participated, my staff, our election workers, and the voters. Thank you.